Hi everyone, this is Hannah from Hannah's Decodes, and today I'm going to be talking a bit about breath. I've actually got a couple of stories that will tie into breath and breathing and how I've known about the power of breathing for your health for a long time, but I haven't really practiced it for terribly long until, I don't know, the last couple of years. So I just thought I'd um, start with a dream I had, I don't know, maybe 10, 20 years ago. I'm not great with time, a long time ago. And it was quite interesting. I was a school child and probably high school, and I was in my school uniform and I was walking up some stairs in a very kind of old, solid building that seemed to have a kind of a bit of an old school feel about it. And I got up to a room, and actually, as I was walking up the stairs, all these other girls were walking down the stairs and passing me. And I got upstairs. I went into a room that was empty and had old wooden polished floorboards and sort of it seemed like kind of thick, kind of brick walls that were painted white, and it all felt pretty like there's a history to the building, I suppose. And so I was in the room and there was nothing in there. So I thought I'll just sit on the floor and just wait and see what happens. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, this figure approached me and I said, "Who are you?" And this figure said, "I'm Vishnu." And I kind of didn't really say anything. And then this long arm, it was like a elastic man or something, his arm stretched out and he put his hand on my head. And I just had lightning going through my head. It was kind of really interesting. And I woke up from the dream and I think I said to myself, where I wrote it down, I've got to remember Vishnu. I knew nothing about Vishnu. And Vishnu is actually one of the Hindu gods. And I don't know a huge amount about him, but I think he is the god of creation. Maybe it's destruction and creation. Anyway, but he's part of, my understanding is the breath and breathing out and breathing in. And I understand that we're in this universal breath of breathing out. I think he might be the god of creation, but I can check on that, or someone can leave a comment. Anyway, so I had this dream and I've sort of remembered it ever since. It was really interesting. And I did a little bit of research about him a long, long time ago. And he, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the god of creation. And there's, we're in his kind of universal breath of breathing it out, I think, at the moment. So I thought that was quite interesting. And then I've written this down so I don't forget anything. There was another interesting thing I remember that I saw several years ago, and it was, I think it was through the National Geographic or something along those lines, some kind of written documentary about a man who was found, I think, somewhere in like Austria or Northern European countries, and he was preserved in ice, and he was mummified but preserved in ice. And I can't remember the era he was from, but he was wearing sort of fur coats, lots of fur and animal fur, and had kind of bow and arrows. And he also, interestingly, his skin was so well preserved, he had, you could see his tattoos, and he had different images on particular points with lines running down to the next image. And the people researching his tattoos realized they were actually acupuncture points, and he had an acupuncture kit with him. And I thought, I mean, I don't mind tattoos, but I've never really thought of getting one. I thought that's a really good reason to get a tattoo. And I think they also found out he had arthritis. So I think he was probably traveling from village to village and had tattooed himself where these acupuncture points helped his arthritis and his well-being. So he'd probably go and get some acupuncture, and perhaps sometimes people didn't really know there may not have been an acupuncturist, so he could get, I don't know, people or friends to put the needles into particular parts where their tattoos were showing where to put the needles. So I thought that was really interesting, and I thought that's a great reason to get a tattoo. And another story that's tying into the breath is I've recently, or for a few years now, been having massages, and my masseuse, who's very good at what she does, she often gets me to breathe right down into my belly. And I know this is kind of something that's been done for a long, long time, for millennia, breathing exercises. And when she does it, she sort of muscle tests me and sees how flexible I am, and it sort of releases my muscles, and I'm much more flexible, and my neck can move, and all these kind of slightly all these kind of injuries I've had for a while, back and neck, kind of improve greatly. And I've been told by my masseuse that it would be really beneficial if I did the breath work several times a day. And I do that probably a few days after I see her. I do the breath work, and then I forget. So I was thinking, I'm quite interested in the breath and being reminded about this breathing exercise. So I started looking online for a symbol of breathing and the breath. And there were a few First Nation kind of symbols in America and other countries of wind. And some of them related a little bit to breathing and the breath, but it was mainly about wind. And they were really beautiful, and I really liked them, but they weren't quite specific in relating to the breath and that kind of being very conscious about your breathing and how it affects your body. So I just thought I would do a few drawings of my own about breath and breathing and see if I could come up with some kind of symbol. And I did lots and lots of really quick sketches, I don't know, 30 or something, and none of them were quite right. And I think it was about last Thursday night, I was falling to sleep, and I wasn't quite asleep because I opened my eyes. I just had all this light come into my head and my vision and my eyes. And I opened my eyes and I could still see the light. And then suddenly threads of light got brighter. And it seemed like these kind of birds of light were coming in and creating these kind of swirling symbols. And I was thinking, what's all this about? And I was really trying to focus on it. And I could see the bottom part of this sort of swirly light symbol quite clearly, but I couldn't see the top part. So I was really trying to focus on it. And I thought, I've got to remember this before I go to sleep. So I was kind of quite focused. And I opened my eyes and I could still see the symbol in my dark bedroom, with the lights off. And I thought, well, this is something quite interesting. And then it didn't really occur to me until the next day. This really does have something to do with the breath and breathing. And it was kind of a little, I don't know if it's a subconscious image or a little message from the universe saying here's something that might relate to breath for me. So I did a little drawing of this the other day. Sorry, excuse me. And I thought I would show you. And it's my little, so getting back to the tattoo, how does the tattoo relate to this? I was thinking, to remind me, I could have this breath and breathing symbol on maybe my hand or somewhere to remind me, because I take a few supplements in the morning, and if I don't actually see them where I'm making my breakfast, I don't take them. So I have to sort of have my memory jogged continuously. And yes, so I was just thinking perhaps this symbol could be a tattoo. I haven't got a tattoo, so it's going to be kind of interesting. And I don't know about colors and tattooing. So anyway, I'll show you, and I'm going to show you quickly, and I won't talk because I know when I put up paper, it really blocks out my voice. So I'll show you, first of all, now the symbol, and hopefully you can see it. And I'll hold it back now. And I know you can't see it quite as clearly, but hopefully you can still hear me. So it was interesting. So You can see that sort of almost like a bird. That's kind of what came in and was creating these kind of images. And when the bird came in during this kind of sleepy vision, it I could see very clearly it was creating these kind of this kind of vortex twirly thing, and it was much more twirl than that. So I kind of made it a little bit more simplistic without it going twirly, 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 like you're being hypnotized or something. And so to me, that was the breath going into the lungs. And I was sort of surprised, when I did it on either side as the breath going into the lungs, that it made quite a nice little heart shape, which was quite interesting. But so this to me, this little birdie kind of looking thing, symbolizes the actual air and the breath and the spirit of breath and air coming in to the lungs. And also this triangular bit here, for some reason, it also reminds me of when you hold your breath. Sometimes in breathing exercises, it's kind of important to hold your breath as well. So it reminds me a bit of the ability in the human kind of body to block the breath as well. But I think you can't really see here. I'll get it closer again. There's a line coming down here and coming in to the sort of twirl of the lungs where the air comes in. So I'll just get it closer again. I won't talk. There's that line and twirling around into there. So that's the breath, the air coming into the lungs. And for me, for some reason, I feel a strong relationship with the breath and air and wind. And obviously when you're breathing in air, it's from the wind and our environment. And the sun seems to have a big play in this, to me, about the movement of our air and our breath and the weather, really, wind and how it can affect our weather, the sun. So I've put these two little lines on either side that kind of remind me of expansion, that kind of expanding your lungs and breathing out. So that's my symbol for the breath and breathing. And I don't know, I might refine it a little bit more, but I thought that could be quite a nice tattoo. I don't know if you can do all those colors with tattoos. So I'll just show you a little bit closer again. So that's it. That's my little Hannah's Decodes today. Did I introduce myself? It's Hannah from Hannah's Decodes. So there we are. That's my symbol for the breath and breathing. And I thought, I know I have lots of ideas and they change every week. I kind of come on. At the moment, I'm thinking of doing one particular thing. By the time the next video comes along, I've got another idea. But I would like to get my masseuse, if she agreed to talk about the breath and breathing and how it helps her clients in her practice. I thought that could be quite interesting. And see what she thinks about my potential tattoo. So that's all from me. And if you'd like to, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Bye.